And then another question, well, I don't know if it's here, it's somewhere here, I read it in the break, and that was, I do get the question from society saying, what is going to become of your children? You know, what will they become? I don't know if there's some sort of transformation takes place where they stop being human and they become something else, but society seems to be worried about home educators becoming something. I'm not quite sure, but they're worried about that. Okay, so people ask me directly, or asked our daughter directly, what are you going to do when you finish school? Well, first of all, she doesn't do school, so that's a bit of a foreign concept. She's home educated. So what are you going to do when you finish school? It depends what God calls me to, is the answer. Yes, but aren't you going to get a degree or something? I don't think so. It depends if that's where God takes me or leads me to. But aren't you scared you're not going to become something? Mom, what does she mean? I'm not going to become something. What kind of question is that? To a child, to a young adult, aren't you scared you're not going to become something? That's a question that a home educating student is supposed to answer. Well, she was a bit taken aback, and she said to me, what is that? And I said, basically the answer is to that question I would give is that we have to become servants. So you hope to become a servant of the Lord. So if somebody asks you, what are you going to become, or whatever, however that question goes, you say, well, I hope I will become a servant. Because that is quite an achievement, isn't it? To get to the point of being a servant, of being a humble, surrendered servant. Isn't that quite a place to arrive at? I think that's better than the qualification myself that would otherwise. So if your children, if your young adults or yourself are being questioned about what you're going to become, my answer is I hope we will become servants, surrendered servants. That's my answer. Anyway, Missy got used to this question being asked of her, what she's going to become, and she became comfortable with the fact that the answer is hopefully a servant of the Lord, an effective servant of the Lord. And then they took it further. I don't know if it was her or Jamie or somebody else. They took it further in the study of servanthood and the study of community service and how few people are considered it having achieved and being qualified if they're in the field of servanthood. And they looked at that and said that, actually Jamie and I were talking about it in the car on the way here, and he was saying that it's a pity it's like that in this country, because he was saying that, like, for example, the States, if you're a fireman, you're a hero just because you're a fireman. And it's almost like, isn't that something we could do in South Africa, home educators, to raise our children with that sense of being in service is actually a heroic thing to do for the Lord. Rather than, and so that's what they discovered after we had spoken about the greatest thing to become as a servant of the Lord, and that is there's greatness there. We don't have to have the others. So maybe home educators can change society in that regard, and we can do something about that. Let's see.